Babe, I'm at the gym. Love you. The message popped up on my screen just as I pulled into the parking lot of my apartment. I smiled to myself. She was always disciplined about her workouts, sometimes even more than me. She had a routine, a schedule. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, no exceptions. I tossed my phone onto the passenger seat, stretching after a long day at work, and then my screen lit up again. A location notification. I frowned. She had shared her location with me months ago. Just a casual thing we both did. I had never thought twice about it. Until now, because the little blue dot that represented her, so it wasn't at the gym. It was across town, in a neighborhood I didn't recognize. I stared at the screen, my heartbeat picking up. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe she had just left the gym and was heading somewhere else. But something in my gut told me that wasn't it. I zoomed in. A residential street. A single house. I knew something was wrong, because this wasn't just some random place. This was the exact same address that had appeared on our shared food delivery account weeks ago. An order she swore was a mistake. I had let it go then. I had trusted her. But now, as I sat there gripping my phone, watching her location stay locked onto that spot, I knew. She wasn't at the gym, and she wasn't alone. I sat in my car, gripping my phone so tightly that my fingers ached. Her location still hadn't moved. That little blue dot stayed fixed in place, sitting miles away from the gym she claimed to be at. I tried to think logically. Maybe she had stopped somewhere on the way. Maybe she'd forgotten something at a friend's place. Maybe... Number I knew better. She had just texted me, "Hey babe, just got to the gym. Gonna get a solid workout in. Love you." Why lie? I clenched my jaw, debating my next move. I could sit here, let my thoughts fester, or I could drive over there and see for myself. 15 minutes later, I pulled up outside the house. It was a quiet neighborhood, neatly kept, the porch light glowing warmly. Her car was parked in the driveway. I didn't recognize the house, but there was something oddly familiar about it. Then it hit me. A few weeks ago, she had ordered food delivery to this exact address. When I asked her about it, she brushed it off, claiming it was a mistake. My stomach churned. I took a slow breath, my heart pounding as I stepped out of the car. I had no plan. I didn't know what I was walking into. I walked up to the door and knocked. Laughter spilled from inside. The kind of easy, careless laughter that shouldn't have made me feel sick to my stomach, but it did. A moment later, the door swung open, and there she was, not disheveled, not guilty-looking, not caught in some compromising position, just surprised. "Baby?" She blinked, her wine glass still in hand. "What are you doing here?" I opened my mouth, then hesitated. I had expected panic, a defensive reaction. But she just looked confused. "What am I doing here?" I repeated, my voice tight. "You said you were at the gym." She glanced over her shoulder, then quickly stepped outside, closing the door behind her. "I can explain," she said in a low voice. I crossed my arms, waiting. She sighed, shifting on her feet. "I didn't go to the gym tonight. I was just exhausted, and Emma and the girls invited me over for wine and movies. I didn't want to bail on you, so I told you I was at the gym instead of dealing with an argument." I frowned. Why would I be mad about that? She hesitated, then gave a small shrug. "I don't know. You always talk about how important it is to stick to routines. I didn't want you to think I was being lazy or that I was flaking on my goals." The excuse almost made sense. I studied her face, looking for signs of dishonesty. She looked normal, relaxed, not like someone caught in a lie. I exhaled, rubbing my temple. I don't like being lied to. "I know," she whispered, stepping closer, placing a hand on my arm. "I swear it won't happen again. I just panicked. I didn't think it was a big deal." I hesitated. A stupid, harmless lie. I should be mad. I should walk away. But looking at her, feeling the warmth of her hand on my skin, the sincerity in her voice, I let it go. "All right," I muttered. "Just don't lie to me again." She let out a relieved breath, smiling up at me. "I won't." We hugged and she kissed my cheek. "Want to come in for a bit? Everyone's here." I almost said yes. Almost walked inside, but something in my gut told me to leave it alone for now. "No, it's fine," I said instead. "I'll see you later." She gave me one last reassuring smile before slipping back inside. I walked back to my car, shaking my head at myself. I had overreacted. She wasn't cheating, she was just scared of disappointing me. I started the engine, driving away, trying to ignore the lingering unease curling at the back of my mind. For a while, I let it go. She'd given me an explanation, and it made sense. People lie for dumb reasons sometimes, to avoid conflict, to keep the peace. It didn't always mean something sinister. So I stopped checking her location, stopped second-guessing her texts, stopped wondering if there was something she wasn't telling me. I told myself I'd been paranoid and that she deserved my trust, and for a while things felt normal again. We went out for dinner, watched movies at home, laughed at inside jokes. She kissed me just like she always did. She held my hand in the car, texted me little good morning messages, and told me she loved me every night before bed. But once you've caught someone in a lie, it never really goes away. That nagging doubt sat in the back of my mind like a splinter I couldn't pull out. I wanted to believe her, so I did. But then, little things started not adding up. It was about a week later when the first inconsistency popped up. We were lying in bed, scrolling through our phones, when she suddenly let out a laugh. "Emma just sent me the funniest thing," she said, turning her screen toward me. I glanced over. It was some meme. Nothing special. But what caught my attention wasn't the meme. It was the text above it. "We need another night like last time. That was wild." My stomach twisted slightly. I played it cool. "You guys had fun, huh?" She grinned. "Yeah, just a lot of wine and bad rom-coms." Her answer was instant. Rehearsed. But something about it bothered me. Emma had made it sound like something wild had happened. My girlfriend described it as a quiet night in. It was probably nothing. But it didn't sit right. I told myself I was overthinking it, until the second slip happened. A few days later, we were talking about our weekend plans. Emma wants to do another movie night soon. She mentioned casually while washing dishes. "Maybe Friday." I leaned against the counter, drying a plate. "Nice, like last time." She nodded. "Yeah, just a chill night. Wine, popcorn, the usual." Something about that rubbed me the wrong way. I wiped my hands on the towel. "What movie did you guys watch last time?" She barely hesitated. Crazy, Stupid Love, I think." I hummed. "Yeah? That's the one with Ryan Gosling, right?" She laughed. "Duh. You know I love him." I forced a chuckle, but something gnawed at me. I pulled out my phone later that night and checked Netflix. Crazy, Stupid Love had been removed 2 months ago. It wasn't proof. It wasn't a smoking gun. But it was another inconsistency. I tried not to dwell on it, until the third slip came. I ran into Jake, one of the guys who had supposedly been at that house the night of the girls' night. "Hey man," I said casually, "that night at Emma's, did they make you guys suffer through another rom-com marathon?" Jake raised an eyebrow. "Huh?" I chuckled. "You know, when you all were hanging out at her place last week?" His expression didn't change. "I wasn't there." My smile faltered. "Wait, you weren't?" He shook his head. Haven't been to Emma's in a while." The air in my lungs turned heavy. Jake wasn't just some guy. He was one of my girlfriend's closest friends. If there had really been a group gathering, he would have been there. I forced a laugh, nodding. "Oh, gotcha. Must have been a different night she was talking about." Jake just shrugged, oblivious, but my mind was spinning. If Jake wasn't there, who was? That night, something gnawed at me. I told myself I wouldn't check her phone. I had promised myself I'd trust her. But trust goes both ways. And I just needed to see something. I waited until she fell asleep. Her breathing slowed. Her grip on her phone relaxed. Carefully, I reached over, took it, and unlocked it. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. A few flirty texts, plans to meet up with someone. But what I found was much, much worse. She had deleted everything. No text from Emma, no messages from that night, no trace of any conversations about a surprise party. I swallowed hard, my hands tightening around the device. No one clears their messages like that unless they have something to hide. I placed the phone back exactly where I found it, rolling onto my back, staring at the ceiling. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe I was reading too much into things. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something big. I needed to know the truth. And this time, I wasn't just going to take her word for it. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Confronting her now would only give her time to come up with another lie, another excuse, another perfectly crafted story to make me feel like I was the one being unreasonable. No, if I wanted the truth, I had to be smarter. And so I waited. The next time she said she was going to the gym, I checked her location, and just like before, she wasn't there. I watched the little blue dot on my screen. She had stopped sharing her location weeks ago, but she had forgotten one thing, her smartwatch. It automatically synced to our shared app. She never even thought about it. Her dot hovered over a familiar neighborhood. My stomach twisted. The same house, the same damn house. I could have driven there immediately, could have caught her red-handed. But that wasn't enough. I wanted proof, something undeniable, something she couldn't twist into a misunderstanding. So I followed her. She was careful, but not careful enough. I parked down the street and watched from a distance. She knocked on the door, hesitated for a second, then walked inside. The lights were dim, but through the window I could see shadows moving. I took out my phone and started recording. I didn't need to catch everything, just enough. She stayed inside for over an hour. When she finally left, she didn't look guilty. She looked relaxed, happy. She got into her car, checked her phone, and then drove home. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just a one-time mistake. It wasn't just some stupid lie to avoid a fight. This was a routine. That night I acted normal. She kissed me when she got home, still smelling like freshly applied perfume. "Workout was great," she said casually, dropping her gym bag by the door, completely exhausted. I nodded, forcing a smile. "I'm proud of you." She smiled back, completely unaware that I knew everything. I wasn't going to yell, wasn't going to accuse, wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of knowing she'd gotten a reaction out of me. Instead, I was going to do exactly what she had done to me. I was going to lie. For the next 2 weeks, I became the perfect boyfriend. I took her on dates, brought home flowers for no reason, told her how much I loved her, and she ate it up. She never suspected a thing. And in the meantime, I planned. First, I gathered more proof, more recordings, screenshots of her location history, bank statements showing her stops at her expensive restaurants she never told me about. Everything. Then I made a copy of her messages. Not by going through her phone. She had gotten too careful for that. Instead, I set up an old phone of mine and logged into our shared cloud account. She had forgotten to turn off automatic syncing. Every message, every picture, every call log, it all transferred right to me. And that's when I saw the truth in full detail. The house belonged to a guy named Ethan, someone she had met through work. The messages between them weren't even subtle. They joked about how she always used the gym excuse, how I was too trusting, how she wished she could just leave already but wasn't ready to start over from scratch. That one hurt the most. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning her exit. She was using me until she was ready to move on. But she had no idea that I was one step ahead. I waited until the night she had planned to stay over at his place again. She told me she was going to the gym late and might crash at Emma's after. I kissed her goodbye, told her to have fun, and watched as she drove off, thinking she had fooled me again. She hadn't, because while she was with him, I was erasing her from my life. I packed her things into boxes, every piece of clothing, every picture, every trace of her in our apartment, gone. I changed the locks, blocked her on everything, removed her from our shared accounts. And for the final touch, I sent her one last message, a simple video, one of the many recordings I had taken of her walking into his house. Attached was a message. "You don't have to worry about finding the right time to leave anymore. I made it easy for you. Don't come back." Then I turned off my phone, sat back on the couch, and waited. It didn't take long. When she finally came home the next morning, she tried to unlock the door. When her key didn't work, she knocked and then pounded, then called me. I didn't answer. She kept calling, texting, begging me to talk, saying it wasn't what it looked like, that she could explain, that we could fix this, but there was nothing to fix. She made her choice, and now she had to live with it. I never responded, never gave her the closure she was looking for. She didn't deserve it. Instead, I went on with my life, free from the lies, the manipulation, the betrayal, and it felt damn good. She didn't stop trying to reach me. The first few days it was constant calls, texts, voicemails, emails. Some were filled with apologies, desperate pleas for me to just talk to her. Others were defensive, full of excuses, trying to twist the narrative. She said I was overreacting, that I had misunderstood, that she never meant to hurt me. but I didn't reply. When she realized I wasn't responding, she showed up at my work. I saw her through the glass doors, pacing nervously, her eyes scanning for me. One of my coworkers came over, hesitating. "Hey, man, there's someone outside asking for you. Said it's important." I didn't even look up from my desk. "Tell her I'm not interested." The message was delivered. She stood there for a long moment looking like she wanted to argue, then finally turned and walked away. That was the last time I ever saw her in person. Days turned into weeks. The messages slowed down. The apologies stopped. Eventually, she disappeared from my life completely. And I felt nothing but relief. I found out later that things didn't work out with Ethan. Whatever fantasy she had built in her head about starting a new life with him didn't last. Maybe she realized he wasn't worth it. Maybe he saw her for what she really was, someone who used people until they had nothing left to give. Either way, they didn't last. A mutual friend mentioned that she had tried reaching out to my family, asking if they knew how I was doing. They didn't respond either. She had burned that bridge. There was no coming back. And as for me, I moved on. Not immediately, not in some grand, dramatic way. But slowly, day by day, I found myself feeling lighter. The weight of wondering, second-guessing, questioning everything, it was gone. I focused on work, picked up old hobbies, reconnected with friends I had neglected when I was too busy trying to keep a relationship from falling apart. And one day, I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about her in a long time, not in anger, not in pain, not at all. It was like she had never existed. People always say you need closure to move on, that you need a conversation, an apology, a final moment to process everything and let go. But I think sometimes the best closure is simply never looking back. She made her choice, and I made mine. Some betrayals don't deserve a second chance. Some people don't deserve a response. And sometimes the best revenge isn't anger or confrontation. It's simply walking away and letting them drown in the consequences of their own actions.